So I was told this might have happened. So they gave me the key and a key card. I can't unlock it at the moment. There we are. They're just little things. Don't worry about it. Little things. Hello, my name is Jimmy, and if you're anything like me, you've been a little interested in this, the Polestar 3. What once was just a part of Volvo, now its own brand. The Polestar 3, well, its third vehicle, well, it's quite a bit different than the Polestar 2. It's bigger, longer, and much more powerful. This is their next step. It uses a brand new platform called the SPA2. It shares a base with the Volvo EX90 as well as the ES90. This, while it is classified as an SUV, it's not really. I'm 5'11" and you can still see me, or just enough of me, over the top of the vehicle. This is just really a lifted wagon. But let's talk about the styling first. On the front, well, it's a Polestar, so you still get the Thor's headlamps, and you also get this in the middle, the Aero Wing. It helps improve that airflow over the hood. On the side, it's a very aerodynamic profile. You get options between 20 to 22-inch wheels, depending on the package you get. These are 21s, and they actually show off the Brembo brakes quite nicely. This here is the dual motor option. It's actually the base of what's available here in Canada. I know in some other countries you can get a single motor version as well. On the side, you do get these pop-out door handles, which sometimes will lock and unlock for you, but some other times it may not. So, I mean, it looks good, but the implementation could use a little bit of work. That aerodynamic shape goes into an Aero Wing right on the back here. You get a full width tail lamp here that looks absolutely beautiful. But sadly, it's not like the Volvo vehicles where you get, well, the tail lamp that goes up the D-pillar here. But it's still a very good looking car. You also get these little aero caps on the side. They are quite odd, but I do like that styling element. If we open up the trunk, there's a button just above the license plate here. We get 17 cubic feet of space. That 17 cubic feet does include a little bit of underfloor storage at about 3 cubic feet. So you can store a little bit more underneath. And when you have this open, I love this implementation. We've seen it in some other Volvo products before, where you got, well, these bag hooks so that your groceries and whatnot, they don't just go flying within the trunk area. That is a nice safety item. Of course, you can fold the rear seats 60-40. 60 is on the passenger side, and you also get a pass-through in the center. Let's head on inside. The back seats here, well, I'm 5'11", and headroom is not a problem. My legs can absolutely stretch out. It's very, very comfortable in here. The rear seats are heated, and they're actually nice and plush. The windows, well, yeah, they may be a little bit smaller, and the shoulder line here is actually decently tall. At least the windows themselves, well, they go all the way down, so at least you're going to get fresh air back here. Of course, you still got your HVAC controls right in the center, and that's also where you find your heated seat control, as well as USB-C ports. And then in the center here, well, this is where you're going to find your armrest, which is actually quite wide, and you get your cup holders. If you're thinking of carrying kiddos in here, well, I am a child passenger safety technician here in Canada, and well, I want to show you exactly how well child seats fit. On the driver's side, this is a Kleckling infant seat here. No problems getting an infant carrier in here. There's enough room from front to back, even with the front seat adjusted to me at 5'11", for a child seat like this. On the passenger side, this is a Kleck 5 in rear facing, so even a large, bulky rear facing seat like this would be fine. And even when it's time to go forward facing, like the Kleck 5 I have right beside me, you shouldn't have any issues. 2 sets of lower anchors within this vehicle. They're quite easy to find, and 3 upper anchors just behind the back seats. Moving up front, seats are actually quite contoured, so actually very supportive. They are heated, but as equipped here, not ventilated or massaging or anything like that. You can opt for ventilated seats. It is an option, and you can even get this like wool material, which in past Polestars, they've been really, really nice. A lot better than this kind of vegan material. This is their bio-attributed microtech seats. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of it. It just doesn't feel as premium as what the Polestar name suggests it should be. In front of me, you got your Polestar steering wheel. Pretty typical stuff here. You got nice grips on the side, which I like. The only thing that's missing is volume knob. I mean, you get it right down here in the center console, but you don't get that on the buttons, which is a little bit odd. There is a small gauge just behind that shows you your speed, battery percentage, your range, just really what you need. With a button press here, it can show you like your maps. And if you're using like Apple Maps, that can display here as well. Above, you do get a heads-up display. That's quite normal stuff here. You got your speed readout and everything that you really need. But your biggest screen, of course, is the infotainment right in the center. It does run off Google. It's been absolutely fine in my week's worth of testing here. Although I've been on some forums and they have been a little finicky. I mean, software updates and whatnot are on the way, and I'm sure it can fix a lot of those little minute issues. But overall, the interface is nice and easy to use. Everything is kind of where you think it should be. There are a few things that you have to dive into a few different menus to get into. Like if you want to go for a drive, a spirited drive, well, not only do you have to go into the car and hit performance, you got to go into your car settings, under drive, maybe change your ESC to sport, change your suspension feel from standard to firm, and change your steering feel from light or standard to firm. Like, there's a few different options in here that, well, you have to adjust manually depending on what kind of drive that you're going to go on. This vehicle, while yes, it's a Polestar, and Polestar has always been known for like, well, at least the performance division of Volvo. Yeah, there are performance bits to this vehicle, but I just don't feel like it's going to be the vehicle that you're going to be taking onto a track or something like that. Sure, you might want to take this on a twisty mountain road because well, I'll tell you a little bit more about that when I start driving it. But let me tell you a little bit more about the powertrain first. The standard dual motor here, that makes 489 horsepower and 620 pound-feet of torque. This 107 kilowatt hour battery pack can give you a range of about 500 kilometers or so. It's a 400 volt architecture with a peak DC charge rate of 250 kilowatts, which means you can charge this between 10 to 80% in about 30 minutes. All right, before I set off here, I almost forgot to close that rear window, which, well, it's the first of my annoyances of this vehicle. They say it's because it's a minimalistic interior that you don't get a button to close the rear window. You have to press a button before you can pull the tab. It's just a cost-cutting measure. That's what it comes down to. That does not make it minimalistic. It makes it annoying to use. But you know what? We'll leave that be. I got my ESC on sport, power delivery on performance, firm suspension. Let's just accelerate and see how it feels from a very slow roll. It's pretty good, actually. And keep in mind, this isn't the performance model. If you want higher performance, you got that option. But even with this, you get adaptive dampers, which currently is on firm. You do also have air springs, which is nice. If you get the performance, that is Polestar engineered, well, tuned. So you get a little bit better feel on that. But let's take this roundabout at a slightly higher speed than you normally would. It feels nice actually around here. Body's quite stable. Not a lot of like oversteer or understeer or anything like that. It's relatively neutral. On throttle, you can get the back end to step out a little bit. But it's actually a very stable vehicle. And that's exactly what Polestar and Volvo is really designed for, right? It's a vehicle with safety in mind. That's why you can't completely turn off the traction control and stability control. It makes sense. What doesn't make sense is just maybe how loud this interior is. While it does feel relatively, well, upscale, it's just a little bit louder than I like. I had the EX90 not that long ago, and comparing to that, there's quite a bit more road noise on this. There's chattering and whatnot. That could just be with all the stuff that I have in the back. But what I'm hearing is a lot of road noise and tire noise that I definitely didn't hear in the EX90. Granted, the EX90 had, I believe, smaller wheels, so that could be a contributing factor. But this may be just a little bit louder than I'd like for a vehicle of this kind of level. I feel like this should be a little bit more posh than what this kind of sounds like overall. The Polestar 3 starts at about 96,000 Canadian, or about 84 for the equivalent one in the US. It's not like it's a large sum, but that's where you start off. If you start to add things like the Pilot package, the Plus package, the Performance package, if you want a better interior with like the Napa leather or the ventilated seats, those things start to add on. Like even this nice silver trim right in front of me, this is not standard. So you do have to add a few things from the base to get to kind of where you would want your Polestar 3. And I just think, well, overall, it's not like it's a bad car. It actually drives great. It's very, very nimble. And it actually surprises you just how athletic it actually is when you push it around a little bit. Even though you can't turn stability control off, you can get it, well, a little bit sideways. And that's always fun. And at the end of the day, if your vehicle isn't fun, it's just an appliance. And if you want an appliance, there are many other appliances around. The Polestar, it still gives you a little bit of that fun factor, which, at least in my point of view, it's a very, very welcome addition. In any case, thank you so much for watching this video. Like the video if you do, subscribe if you're new, and let me know what your thoughts are on the Polestar 3. You want to just get a Polestar 2, or are you one of the lucky few that has a Polestar 1? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll catch you next time. Take care.